All right, everyone, I have some breaking news coming to you. I didn't expect this to happen, but now we have information coming through that law enforcement agencies and major news media outlets are going to start calling you the perpetrator of crimes against others inside the USA. This is coming as we see states set up hotlines for people to be deported. We see ICE setting up their hotline. They got quickly shut down because lots of people were calling in Elon Musk. People were calling in Barack Hussein Obama. People were calling in AOC, all of these people to be deported out of the country. They basically shut down the lines. It could have been a operated attack against them, just robo-dialers. I don't know if you remember what those are, but just constantly dialing the system and playing a message, or it's just people so fed up with the division and the hate that they're losing their minds. So now the media and law enforcement are being told that it's you, the people, who are attacking these people who are in this country illegally. Now, Donald Trump's press advisor, we see all of the administration, they all have a very clear stance on the criminality of people being inside of this country illegally. That if you are here without the proper documentation, if you've entered into this country and remain in this country in certain manners or methods, then you are a criminal, and they're being treated as such. Now, some of what I'm seeing in the local, and this is why the media and why law enforcement is all up in arms over this, some of the videos that I'm seeing are people, citizens, attacking people they suspect of not being here legally. And we're getting into some really murky, really dark and gray territory there, because you can't just take that sort of vigilantism into your own hand without there being a wider, nationwide a bit of coverage or a bit of condemnation over what's happening, especially if it turns out that the person down the street that you thought was here illegally is not. And then we have just a citizen's attack against another citizen, and now people are starting to distrust each other. Doesn't matter, and that's where their division comes in. So just watch out, guys. The next couple of days, next couple of weeks, you might start to see more of these attacks. You might see that hatred or that mistrust between people who shouldn't be in this country, maybe even people who are in this country legally, and the people who suspect them of being not in this country legally. So really dangerous.
All right, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Ha-Rakah Kodash, double honors unto our apostle elders which rule great millstone while in Shalom, to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, may you endure until the end. Shalom wa abba babal. So as you heard that Edomite, which I'm sure, I'll bet my last dollar that that's an Edomite. You know, that's skinhead news, that full spectrum, survival spectrum, that's skinhead news. But he reports a lot of news, and that's why I watch. So I don't have to do all that work of digging through the news, but he'll bring out some certain, articles that are important. And he's looking at it from his perception, from his point of view, and I'm using it for the benefit of prophesying, all right? Because when you know the history, you know the mystery, all right? And back in 1865, you had the American Civil War. It says the United States Congress passes the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution, abolishing slavery, which we know the truth that they abolished private slavery and made it corporate. Now that's why you're an employee and have an employer, because you're a corporate slave. And submits it to the states for ratification to make it a law. And this is really what caused the Civil War. All right. And that's where you get men like General Robert E. Lee in 1865. Confederate General Robert E. Lee becomes General-in-Chief of all Confederate armies, which he was known for hunting Jake. Okay. So this is happening again. Right before our eyes, they're making laws, changing the laws, adding and taking away from the laws. And this is going to cause a civil war in America. All right. The country is divided. Their kingdom is divided, so it cannot stand. And the Lord's going to make Egyptian go against Egyptian. You're going to have American against American. Isaiah 19, verse, I'll just start at 1. The burden of Egypt, behold, Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, a chariot, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. So this ain't talking about ancient Egypt. It's talking about America using parabolic speech, making the reference to ancient Egypt. All right, but it's talking about America because America is going to melt. Verse 2, and I will set the Egyptians, the Americans, against the Americans, the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, civil war, and every one against his neighbor, which today, we had civil rights, which Donald Trump, pretty much deleted civil rights. And so now the neighbor, you could have a so-called black man and a so-called white man living next to each other. Well, now that these privileges, they call them, civil rights, are being removed, all right, you're going to have them fighting against each other. And they show that in that movie, Leave the World Behind, at the end, when they went to go look for medicine. And Kevin Bacon, the actor, he was playing that Edomite, that prepared Edomite. And he was going to shoot him with that, that weapon he had, because they were on his property. And the guy said, hey, I'm your friend. The black dude said, I'm your friend. Right? The Jake, I should say, because there's no such thing as a black man, nor is there anything of a so-called white man. All right? But there's nations. And Jacob and Esau are the two main nations in this story of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right? And Esau is the king of Babylon, Babylon the Great, who are to be destroyed. And he's going to bring signs upon this place. The prophet, the pangs, and the sorrows. All right? And one of the sorrows is you're going to have a civil war, and you're going to have Esau and Jacob fighting. And that's why it's called Jacob's trouble. And everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt, which you going to work every day, shall fail in the midst thereof. There ain't going to be no going to work. There ain't going to be no food in the stores. There's going to be famine. And I will destroy the counsel thereof. And nobody's going to know what to do or what's going on except for the prophets. And they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to wizards. And it says, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord and a fierce king, which you see Trump signing all these executive orders, shall rule over them, saith Yahweh of hosts. And the waters shall fail from the sea, and the river shall be wasted and dried up, which is going to be a famine of the word. All right, and when they persecute the saints, it's going to bring the nuclear destruction of America. Amos 8, verse 11, behold, the days come, saith the supreme power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh. You'll look for the prophets and shall not find it, and you won't find them. All right? Because you had all this time, you've been watching these videos, all right? And you laughed, you scoffed, you ignored, willfully. And so you're going to be punished in that wickedness, in that unbelief. 2nd Ezra 15, verse 4. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. I'm going to jump down to 14. It says, Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword, the so-called white race, and their destruction, the judgment, draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. You're going to have civil war. For there shall be sedition among men. But you already have this sedition where they're talking bad about their government and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And this shows this prophecy coming to pass. All right, they're talking shit about Trump and his executive orders. Yahoo News, which this is Snoop's fact check video of Trump signing executive order banning men from wearing skinny jeans, isn't what it seems. All right, they're just showing that he's signing so many executive orders that it wouldn't be shocking that if he was signing pretty much telling you what you could wear, just like in North Korea. They have a uniform, even in the haircut. You only have so many haircuts you're allowed. All right, because this is turning into a prison. This devil, the so-called white man, he's showing his horns. All right, but there's sedition among the people. All right, and eventually it's going to lead to civil war, civil unrest. Once again, it says in 2nd Ezra 15, verse 16, For there shall be sedition. When you look up that word sedition, it says conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch, which Trump is a king. All right, and a monarch is pertaining to a king, a sovereign head or state, especially a king. All right, emperor. So Trump is a king, and that's what people forget. All right, back before Trump got elected, the Supreme Court gave to the president's seat the power of a king. All right, but you can look this all up for yourself here. All right, but you can see right here in Briannan Center for Justice, the Supreme Court gives the president the power of a king. And that was in July 2024. All right. So what Trump is doing, everybody thinks that he needs to go to Congress to ask for permission, or that they'll be in the courtroom, battling it out over these executive orders. No, they will not. Trump has the power of a king. It was given to him by the Supreme Court before he came into his second term as president. All right. TheConversation.com. Supreme Court ruling may put presidents above the law. July 24, 2024. All right. USC Dornsife. Supreme Court ruling may put president above the law. TheHill.com. Supreme Court crowns the president king. So whatever he says or writes down in an executive order, signs it, because really he has people that are controlling him. So he's just signing whatever they tell him to. All right, because he's a meat puppet, the glove of the Illuminati. All right, he's pretty much just passing whatever they put before him, which eventually they're going to make it mandatory for everyone to have an implantable microchip. Revelation 13, Verse 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, which is America, and he had two horns like a lamb. They act like they're good, and they claim to be Republican or Democrat. And he spake as a dragon, draconian law, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. It was wounded. Rome was wounded. Then you had the Dark Ages, and then you have the Renaissance, which now America takes that place of Rome. And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. You hear what they say about these fires, that Esau shot a laser beam from his satellite and burned it up, right? Well, that's prophecy. All right. It says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he has the implantable microchip, which he's lying to everybody, telling them that it's going to give them life. You know, if they're crippled, they're going to walk. If they're deaf, they're going to hear. If they're blind, they're going to see. So he deceiveth them it says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which you have Elon Musk, part of Donald Trump's campaign, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, which talking about the European Union, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, the New World Order, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And that's why he put out that speech right away with the WEF. And he had power to give life unto it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, which is talking about the elite. They're bringing forth this new world order, that the image of the beast system, should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed, which Trump is putting forth laws of bringing back execution of people that are agreeing with him. All right, there you go. It says Texas legislators one day ago more protections for death penalty. Trump executive order resumes executions. See? Trump's new order to expand the death penalty. Trump signs death penalty order directing Attorney General to help states get lethal injection drugs, because there's going to come a time where he's going to put an order out. It's already written, all right, but he's going to put it out that if you don't accept that implantable microchip, you're an enemy to the state and you're going to be executed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, the implantable microchip, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Chi, Xi, stigma in the Greek. Going back to how they used to brand their slaves as Greeks and Romans. And they now have barcode systems, which they have now put into a microchip. And they want to install that microchip into your body so that they could have complete control over you, which will mark you for the destruction of America, which comes right after they make that mandatory. It says in Revelation 14:9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, which is poured out without mixture, no mercy. When you're in that lake of fire, you're not shutting it off. You're not climbing out. You're not putting it out. You're going to have to sit in there and burn until the Lord allows it to go out into the cup of his indignation, which is America. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast, the so-called white man, and his image, his system, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Which, I was thinking about this the other day. I was watching one of Apostle Tahar's, sit downs on IUIC. They're going to be in the lake of fire because they worship the beast. They're still calling on Jesus Christ. They're worshiping the so-called white man. You see? And his image, which is a system. And whosoever receiveth his mark, receiveth the mark of his name. And whosoever receiveth the mark of his name, which if you take the microchip, you're going to be destroyed. And if you want his system to continue, you're going to be destroyed. And if you're praying to any of his false idols, like Jesus Christ, you're going to be destroyed. You're going to be in the lake of fire. All right? But the mark of his name is the implantable microchip. His image is the system. It says in verse 12, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahweh Shai. All right, we got to keep the commandments of Yahweh as instructions to our moral life and the faith of Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is our Savior. He was sacrificed as a sacrifice for our sin, which we had to pay the wage of death, and Yahweh Shai did that on the cross. So we don't sacrifice animals no more, but now we are a living sacrifice to live for the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom to the elect, wa abba babal.